Hello everyone! So today starts the baking challenges. I am going to be making cookies today. I have made cookies in the past. I'm yet to find that perfect cookie recipe. So hopefully that's something we'll find through doing this potential I'm going to keep calling it a potential challenge playlist because we'll see how it gets on. Yeah, so we're going to be making chocolate chip cookies today because that's a win-win, especially when I get to eat them afterwards. So yeah, let's get started. So I'm going to start out by showing you what we have in the kitchen today. So we've got 225 grams of plain flour, some vanilla extract, some butter, which I like to have at warm room temperature just because it makes it a lot easier to work with. One large egg, which that is what that's for because, horror story, I cracked an egg into a bowl once and there was a bloody egg. So yeah, nobody wants that. And a mix of brown, light brown and granulated sugar, 80 grams each. And we also have bicarbonate soda and salt, just box standard salt. And we've got a big bowl and yeah, some general equipment for baking. Over here, as you can see, I've started chopping up some milk chocolate and dark chocolate. So the recipe that I'm following today has milk chocolate, plain chocolate chunks or chips. I couldn't find any plain chocolate, and I also know that I've seen recipes where they kind of mix milk chocolate and dark and or plain chocolate. So I'm gonna go with a mix of both of these today, so I started chopping that there. Almost forgot we also have this, which is just a bog standard baking tray. They do say to use like parchment paper when you're baking, but I've just kind of greased the pan before, and I think I'm gonna do that, especially because I forgot to buy baking paper. So the first thing you want to do is preheat your oven to 190 degrees or 170 degrees if you have a fan assisted oven. After a good start. Next you want your really dusty or floury scales and weigh out 150 grams of butter. This is salted butter, by the way, in case you missed. I like to do the sugar first. No, well, butter first because it's just easier to take out if you've put too much in. 150 grams of butter, and yes, I do it with a spoon because I don't quite know if that's the normal way of doing things like this, but well, I'm gonna do it this way because this is the way I do things. 43, we're off to good. Okay, I did also realise I have an electric beater, but I don't know where it is in this kitchen, so we're gonna use the old how much did I say? 150. So yeah, baking is actually a very good way I find to actually exercise your arms. Oh, that's 149. This is trolling me. Nope. Yeah. Next, you want to mix in your sugar. This is a mix again of granulated and light brown sugar. I think if you use the different kinds of sugar, like dark brown sugar, it will give you a different kind of cookie. So in goes, I do like to sieve it as well to get out any lumps. You can get that in light brown sugar, it is quite hard in the beginning, so some of it you can kind of just smush down. This is at least what I'm doing. But obviously you will still get a few bits at the end that you'd rather not use, so you just spin those. Next you want to beat it together. So I'm going to take it off the scales now because I don't need it anymore. Oh, hey, you know that butter I dropped earlier? Right on my sock. Okay, so I know I said that this was at room temperature, this butter, but maybe it could have done with just a little bit longer because it is still a little bit hard to mush. As you can maybe see, this is just the initial mix. I have seen that sometimes, I think it's like a thing with cookies, you can either melt the butter first and then mush it together, or you can do it this way, which just takes a bit longer for it to mush down. I think I'm pretty much making that word up, mush. Mush. This is hard butter. So I'm realising maybe I should have chopped it up into smaller pieces before putting it in, especially as I opted to not melt the butter this time around. I wish I had melted it now, I'll be honest. So you can kind of see now it's starting slowly to cream together. Again, the butter was a bit too hard, but it's starting to cream together. It doesn't look particularly appetizing at the moment, but then it is butter and sugar. I'm gonna get rid of all these lumps and then we'll add the next ingredients. So that's looking creamy now. Next up we have the egg, which I have cracked into this, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Again, backstory as to why I always do this. Whenever I bake, I like to crack the eggs into a separate bowl, or in this case a mug, just because I did crack an egg straight into a mixture once that I was making, and I'm pretty sure there was blood in the egg, which nobody wants in their cake or their cookies, so horror stories officially scarred me. It is meant to be 2 teaspoons. I don't know if that's an actual teaspoon, but it's teaspoon enough for me. So, and this is stuck. Oh, ha. So in goes the egg. And then we've got 2 teaspoons of this, so I'm gonna be a bit risky and do it over the bowl, because you know, you do only live once. Oh, I love the smell of vanilla extract. Oh, okay, maybe a bit too much. So we then beat that in. Ooh, it's mushy. Mush. I made a carrot cake once, and you've got like this lovely cake mix. I'm not one for raw cake mix. I know a lot of people like it. But anyway, I had this lovely cake mix, and yes, it's a little bit strange because I had carrot into it and everything. And then you had to add apple cider vinegar, which it was so bizarre because then you just suddenly have a cake that smells like vinegar, and that's not right to me. That's, you know, I'm not the hugest fan of vinegar as it is, and I didn't really want it in a cake. I'm pretty sure we had to add it into the icing, which again, weird. Trying really much not to get this out of the bowl. I really wish I had my electric mixer. But I suppose this way, if anyone ever follows this recipe at home, because God forbid why would you, like, don't follow me. Follow somebody who's actually good at this. But if anybody ever did, at least you can say like, oh, if I didn't have an electric mixer, she didn't have it either. But my silicone spatula, they are the handiest thing for getting anything off the edge. I would never, ever go back. I think that's pretty good. A little bit lumpy, but it'll do because it's a cookie, it's not a cake. See this? There's your mixture. Next you want to sift in the flour, the bicarb of soda, why can't I say that? Bicarb of soda, and the salt. I seem to remember when I've made a Victoria sponge cake before, for some reason you beat the butter and the sugar together with a wooden spoon and the eggs, and then when you get to the flour you fold it in with a metal spoon. I'm not quite sure why that is, I'd love to know why. Whoosh! Ta-da! If that's not satisfying, you're lying. A 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Well, see, this is the thing with me, is when you get a salted butter pack, I often think, if you're going to add salt to the recipe, I would prefer to get an unsalted butter and then add salt. Whenever I'm baking and I'm not sure whether it's requiring salt or salted butter or unsalted, I generally go for unsalted, just because I can then add the butter. I can add the salt. Not gonna lie, this is a complete guesstimate. 1/4 teaspoon. I'm not gonna go crazy on the salt. I'm gonna guess this amount, if you can see. I can see better. Then 1/2 teaspoon of bicarb of soda. How the hell? Interestingly enough, I've just had a look at the recipe, and this actually says to do mix it in with a wooden spoon, which I was just saying that whole malarkey about this other recipe for Victoria sponge cake says mix in with a metal spoon. About 1/2 teaspoon of that. Bicarb of soda. I don't know if it was quite enough. Yeah. I don't quite know if it's the same with. It feels very strange to me, this, because like when you add flour into a cake, you obviously fold it, and so my instinct is kind of telling me to fold here, but I don't think it's quite the same. I also know that I think it's a thing that you kind of put cookie dough in the fridge to help it firm up and it intensifies the flavour or something. I don't know. Dough is coming along. It's looking more like a cookie dough now. I've got to finish chopping the chocolate yet. You're me thinking I was organised, getting all my ingredients ready. I forgot to do the chocolate. Best bit. Make sure, I know it sounds sort of obvious, but I always try to clean this bit off because often you get raw, or other unmixed cake mix or cookie dough trapped. This is how we're looking. Oh, the butter's become uncovered. I put a bit of kitchen roll over it because I'm lazy, I couldn't bother to pick it up. Yeah! Okay, it's getting to a good consistency now, so I am going to finish chopping up the chocolate and then mix it in. I feel like I'm going to have a lot of chocolate to dough ratio, but I'm gonna go chop the rest of the chocolate now. Okay, and there's that. There's the roughly diced chocolate of, well, dark chocolate and milk chocolate. I didn't realise before, but dark chocolate is actually, or plain chocolate is quite a key ingredient in cookies. Because I made them with just milk chocolate once, or I made them with like Galaxy chocolate bar. And it does sort of make a difference, because there's already like quite a lot of sugar in cookies anyway. When you add things like dark chocolate, plain chocolate, it sort of mixes in very well and kind of balances it out with the bitterness and the sweetness. I feel like I'm gonna mix some in at a time because it's gonna make it easier on my life, but also there's a lot of chocolate here and I feel like there's too much. I mean, there's never too much chocolate, but yeah. Okay. All that stuff I just said about, you know what? No. Whee! Forget it. Forget my life. Forget what I said. I mean, I gotta say, it looks rather nice, just like that. I don't know if any of you guys are as mad on like raw cookie dough as some people are. I feel like it's a very American thing, being obsessed with cookie dough. Like, I actually never used to like it. Like when you got ice cream, like Ben and Jerry's ice cream, and it had cookie dough, I didn't really like the cookie dough bits. I just found them a little bit of a weird texture, especially in ice cream. I don't know, I think I'm not one for raw cake mixtures. I prefer it, or like baking mixtures. I think I just prefer them cooked. I certainly don't like raw cake mix. It's like, just weird to me. I don't know why people like that. It just does not taste good. Actually mixing in pretty well, actually. I thought there might be too many chocolate chunks, but actually it looks pretty good. Now again, I would have thought that you have to chill this in the fridge. My fridge is here. I thought you would have had to chill this dough for a little bit to kind of intensify the flavours, but the recipe that I'm following doesn't say to do that. So I think for today I will follow that, but in the future, if I ever try this again, I might try chill the dough and see if it makes that much of a difference. Right, time to scoop this up onto a tray. But first we need to butter this tray. So we gonna get this, and then we gonna just move that. Oh, by the way, it's very important to have your toothbrush charging when you're making cookies. Yeah, just getting it literally like a chunk of butter. You can do this with kitchen roll, but I'll be honest, I told you I got this idea from Mr. Barry Lewis, or used to be My Virgin Kitchen, and he just does it with his hands. I have to say, having now doing it with my hand, I kind of wish I had done it with a piece of kitchen roll, because this feels weird. Pan and my hand are greased. Make sure it's properly rubbed in, there's not too much. Okay, so this mixture supposedly should make about 30 cookies, so I'm thinking if I don't have enough, because you are meant to butter or kind of line 2 trays, I'm going to line 1 tray for now, and I think if I run out of space, I'm going to then chill some of the dough, and then I'm going to try and make another batch later and see if there's an actual difference between like chilling the dough and then just baking them straight out. Got some teaspoons. And this is actually something I remember my mum teaching me, is so you take a bit of the dough, get a nice big one, like so, and you kind of just mix. I'm going to not do that over the floor because the butter is already on the floor. You sort of just like shape it between the 2 teaspoons. Although I'm going to make huge cookies, so I feel like I should have done this between 2 bigger spoons, but hey ho. All I will do now is put on the tray, like so. And make sure you space them out so that you have enough room to, they have enough room to grow. And there you have it, there are 6 cookies ready to go into the oven. They bake for 8 to 10 minutes, although because these are quite large cookies, I wonder if they'll take a bit longer. But 8 to 10 minutes roughly, until they're light brown, and they're a little bit soft in the middle. So, let's put them in. I'm so excited. Like I said, I'm just going to cover this in cling film, put it in the fridge for a little bit. I think it's just something to do with firming up the dough mainly. I don't know if it's like when you cook a piece of meat, you're meant to let it rest and like soak up the juices. I wonder if it's similar. I always feel like when a timer gives you 8 to 10 minutes, I always go for the middle number. So for like 10 will be the crispier version, and the 8 will be the less, like the more doughy version. So I always feel like the middle number is a nice middle ground. Cleaning montage. Okay, so the cookies have had roughly 10 minutes in the oven. And as you can see, they are nice and, oh my God, they're like domes. We just have a little feel. See this one? I mean, they will harden up anyway. That feels nice, that feels good to me. Yeah, oh, that one feels like a good cookie. Okay, so this says to let it cool and then lift them onto a cooling rack. They're already on a cooling rack, so I'll let them harden up, like let them firm up, and then I will move them, because if you try and move them now, they'll lose all their shape and brr. Okay, so the cookies are just firm enough that I feel comfortable moving them now. Like, they've got just a slight hardness to them. So I'm gonna try and move them off this onto there. Okay. Oh, like a dream. Look, just slid right off. Oh, that just goes to show you don't need baking paper. This just works just as well. Nom. Right, next batch. Just looking at this dough that's only been in the fridge for about 10 minutes, it's definitely now harder, which hopefully might make it like a nicer shape when it bakes, I don't know. Just working with this now, it's a lot easier to mold, like it's a lot less sticky. So maybe there is something to putting it in the fridge. Whoa! Okay, yep. Okay, now what I've actually just opted to do, and don't worry, I have clean hands, of course. So it is actually just quite easy now that it's been in the fridge. It's a lot less sticky, so I can just roll it with my hands. Ta-da. Okay, so the second batch is looking good. Oh, I think they're just about done. Those two had to join together because my life. Oh, it smells so good. I can't wait to eat them. I mean, I'm not gonna eat all of them or anything, but you can definitely tell the difference between the cookies that were spooned and the cookies that were rolled. Although, is it something to do with how the dough was kept as well? First baking challenge done. So hopefully we'll get the nice ooey gooey numminess. Oh, they look cooked. Whoa. Oh my God. Yeah. Yep. That is amazing. They're crunchy on the outside and then they've got the gooey in the middle, which is what you want in a cookie. And oh my God. Ah! These are dangerous. Oh my God. I'm left alone with a bunch of cookies like this. The mixture of dark chocolate and milk chocolate was a good idea. Well, thank you very much for watching, guys. This was the first of the baking videos. Let's see if I do any more. Hopefully. Maybe. Potentially. Let me know if you enjoyed this and if you would like to see more of this kind of thing. I really want to keep eating these. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. And I will see you in the next one. Again, let me know if you want to see more of this. If not, stay tuned for whatever comes next. Bye! All the cookies!